Alright, so I've been editing this series. Just if you're wondering, because I often make the game louder during cutscenes and dialogue in a lot of games, I find the dialogue really grating to listen to in this game in particular. It's not that the performances are bad. There's a certain, I don't know, maybe it's like a hyper compression and a super loud volume and so on. But like something about the playback, like the audio quality or volume or something of the dialogue, I find is less listenable the louder it gets. So I'm leaving it at normal game volume for your guys' perspective instead of raising it like I normally would during cutscenes. Because normally I raise the game volume to be closer to my commentary volume during dialogue, but I find that it's kind of not a great experience to listen to it at that loud. On that level, just me as a person playing PC games, I have like a standard volume I use for like my normal volume level I play, which is like 50%, just in my particular setup at least. Then I have 30%-ish, which is what I use for games that are a bit louder, something more like Shovel Knight or whatever, stuff using like loud chiptune stuff with a very narrow dynamic range. This game I'm playing on 20%. It's just very loud. So if you've been wondering what's going on with the audio balancing, if you're used to this channel more, that's what's going on. The private journal's been knocked to the floor. Look at somebody's private information. That's a face. You're making a face. Alright, Sharon Cayne-Musk. Cayne-Musk. Curious about that. We taking a jab at Elon Musk at all in this game, I wonder? Cayne, like she's clearly from the corporation that does all these atrocities. That fucking bitch, this January 27th. I mean it. I get it. She's John's daughter. She's a big deal or whatever. But I'm a Cayne, and that spoiled brat needs to know her place. Not an ounce of self-awareness, huh, in that sentence? So maybe I'm not her biological mother. Not some nobody gutter whore from the dust colonies. But her father and I are lovers now, and she has to accept that and show some respect. I think I'm going to start insisting that she call me mother just for today's insolence. And I can probably use John's pathetic piety to play the two of them off each other when she inevitably defies me. That should be amusing. Besides, without me, the whole team would be totally screwed because I'm the only one who can go near Samantha. Me. Not Julia. Not even John. Me. Wow, so everyone in this game is just gonna be unrepentantly garbage, huh? I guess I shouldn't be surprised because they're people that rip wombs out of living women. So I guess I shouldn't really be surprised at all. February 10th. Samantha and I have a mutual understanding, I think. An experiential bond. Me and my disabilities, and she with her idiosyncrasies. Ever since the stroke, people treat me like I'm different. Like I'm other. Well, now I feel bad about the face comment, but also you suck, so I'm not really, maybe I shouldn't care that much. So, I can empathize with her. She's more than just a product to me. She's a collaborator, a conspirator even. It's not like anybody else knows about our special experiments. The CEO has arrived at the facility. If I hadn't handled some of the paperwork myself, I'd probably have known anyway, because John was especially devout about his purification rituals when we met last night. I was still scrubbing blood out of the upholstery this morning. The shit I tolerate for my career prospects. Isn't it supposed to be your a marriage? I guess we've just dispelled any idea that it's anything else. March 23rd. Since when am I accountable to the fucking support staff? That Danny Boland has become a constant and insufferable nuisance, skulking around in my lab, asking too many questions. He's in charge of managing the facility's life support systems, not our research work. I told Samantha about it. She said that I should bring her Danny's pet parrot. I think she said that. It's the best kind of thing she would say. Note, during the weekly inventory, I noticed that 2 grubs are missing from the habitat. Julia's sleazy friend from Mind Transfer has been hanging out with around our department lately, and he's expressed an overly keen interest in our specimens. Did he take them, and for what? Reaching over really quick just to grab my notes. Just reminding myself that I might need them, especially since the next one is apparently... I mean, it has a number. That reminded me, at least. They had 2 grubs missing. I'm trying to figure out what to think of some of these lines. Like, I told Samantha about it. She said I should bring her Danny's pet parrot. I think she said that. It's the kind of thing she would say. So, you imagined it, or what? Pound 952110 from Sharon Cayne-Musk to Danny Boland. Subject: accident. Your bird got into Samantha's birthing lab somehow and was killed. It may be some consolation to know that despite such a regrettable tragedy, we've gleaned valuable information about Samantha's behavior in the process. She prefers to prolong the suffering of her prey. For example, this could be useful in our research. Sorry about that, Sharon. Wow, you stank-ass awful person. That number doesn't seem very important, though. It's a briefing number. June 06. I think that John and Julia aren't talking to each other. Between the food poisoning epidemic, a frustrating lack of real progress in our department's work, and her consistent refusal to properly acknowledge me as part of the family, I guess everything is a bit volatile at the moment. Samantha thinks it's hilarious, but I'm questioning my own precarious position in the middle of things now. John's locking himself up in his office, and skulking all day isn't exactly helping me. And Julia's sullen disregard is now turning into blatant hostility. Not fucking constructive, Sharon. June 18th. Samantha has been sort of subdued for the last week or so. She won't tell me what the problem is, but I think it might be something to do with the temperature in the labs. Danny Boland is enforcing new atmosphere maintenance regulations, ostensibly to eliminate thermal fluctuations in the food storage as a possible reason for the rations spoiling. But I suspect it's petty revenge for the parrot incident. With the temperature now kept below the habitat's usual 95 degrees, however, Samantha's grubs are drowsy and morose. July 1st. I visited the atmospheric control room today to see that if I could adjust the temperature in our labs, and I made the most intriguing discovery. Somebody had been collecting body parts and making some sort of thing. An organic simulacrum, maybe. I must assume this is some secret, obviously desperate new research development in Dr. Abrams' department, so I've told John and Julia about it. Tensions have now been temporarily forgotten as our team redoubles its own efforts to resolve the problems on advanced organ regrowth. Samantha has become increasingly uncooperative, though I think she liked it when everybody was preoccupied with circumstantial drama and not her. It sounds like she found the creepy hanging marionette body thing that I found at the beginning of the game, which was not really an experiment as far as I can tell. Seems like the person that they were having automate the womb extraction process was just kind of fucking around. Well, more specifically, he was deluded or delusional. My personal stem cell therapy project has had some unanticipated results. I've developed what appears to be a cluster of sphincter-like gland ducts around my lower abdomen, groin, and upper thighs. Ah. Somewhat resembling those found in more mature grub specimens that emits some sort of musky, jellyish discharge, perhaps a pheromone. Oh my god. You have sphincters? Sphincter-like glands all over your lower body? You've been testing this shit on yourself? I wonder if she's trying to... I wonder if she's like desperately trying to like recover from the stroke, so she's doing really, really questionable things to herself. Did I mix up my glial regeneration sequences? Or were the samples contaminated? Oh no, it's an accident. Doesn't matter now. John's become obsessed with them. I suppose the flagellation thing should have clued me into this predilection for kinky sex stuff, but this is a whole other level. I won't lie though, it's kind of hot. I'm sorry, is he fucking the weird holes? Concern? Clinical improvement on my mobility and speech issues is limited, however, so that's a bust. Shit. Okay. Wow. Regretting reading these, kind of. From Julia Cairn to Sharon Cayne-Musk. Several responses late into this project update conversation. I see the old messages? Nope. Sharon, we need to discuss the situation with Samantha. It's important. Meet me at the birthing lab Nexus in 15 minutes. Julia. Well, let's just write that down. Birthing lab. Play sign. Flag. Play sign. Go, go, Power Rangers. There we go. Add that to my notes. I was right to grab the notepad, just not for... I thought the number might be a code, but no, that's just a number of the emails. 110 in both cases. Curious about that. 952-110, 954-110. Maybe it's not a linear sequence of numbers. Maybe it's more of like a... What would you call it? Maybe it's more of like an address of some sort, or maybe. Well, she was awful. How much can I find in this room since I already have access to the next room, surprisingly immediately? Lumps of tissue have started to separate from the frontal and occipital lobes and squirm like bloodless tentacles in the preservation liquid. The bloated brain floating in a vat. Yeah. I don't like how they're moving around. That's not a fun idea. A worn wooden desk. Coffee stains and random assortment of inscrutable and insignificant academic junk clutter the antique walnut top. I was gonna say the desk looks really nice from this distance. It's one of the nicer, cleaner looking things we've seen in this entire place so far. Detached brain. Viscous preservation fluid bubbles around the disembodied brain. A faint, rotting smell permeates the immediate air. Oh, it's not... Yeah, it's not contained within a closed container? Gross. A personal data tag printer. The inside of the tube is encrusted with ice, perhaps as a result of a cryogenic freezing. A low hum radiates from this brain nutrient tank.
Personal data tag printer. Oh, PDT. This must be how they're making the security tags.
There must be an easier way.
This facility seems to do things the hard way. I've heard of spinal tagging on animals, right into the nervous system. Maybe this is like an upgrade? But these aren't animals.
Sure we are. We're just meat puppets.
Meat puppets? You had an interesting childhood.
Hi, friend. I'm Ralph. Let's pray into PDT together.
I wasn't ready for that. My companion that's talking to me strangely reminds me of the books, Vice, and And the other one? He wasn't called Schwartz, was he? Or Schwartz? No. Oh, there's a light book and a dark book in the game Near. The tone, the way they just kind of come in and out. Disembodied voice, vaguely of that accent, maybe. All right. The computer talked to me. It called me. Said, "Hi, friend." Tag printer. What do you do? You need a blank PDT, a PDT template, and a cryoregulator. It's not working. Let's see. These don't do anything? No. It's probably just a receptacle for these 3 items. What do I have? A blade, an Omni tool, data records.
Sorry, kiddo. Don't know what I was thinking.
Just giving it a go. The blade's super irrelevant, right?
If I turn it around, it may fit.
No.
Probably not.
No, not exactly. Rumbling machinery. Barely perceptible low-level vibrations rumble through the scanner at irregular intervals. Blood-stained bed. The cloying stench of putrefaction hangs like a pall over the plastic pallet. It looks like an MRI machine. There's horrible gore on it. That might be all that's in this room. It might be you just get the password to go check out a new place, and now I have a goal, which is to get those 3 items and bring them here. I don't really see anything else to do in here. But now we can access the birthing lab. I don't really know what that means. Oh, she's running around barefoot in all this. What a great time to be alive. That might be the rest of the game for all I know. Like, we're clearly in like a hub world right now. Like, that elevator might be the escape at the end of the game. Like, that might be how it ends. Which makes these 5 passageways maybe the entire game, with a very varying size apparently, because this was like a whole intro area, but that was one room. Let's see. Try birthing lab. Birthing lab nexus, crew facilities, brain emulation lab, central elevator access. Brain emulation lab. That's interesting.
Is there anything else you can make out around you?
No. A deep thumping noise. Like a machine.
Another generator, maybe? Focus on the last thing you do remember.
I can't. There are flashes. A hospital. Family. They didn't like me much.
Join the club.
They wanted what I have.
Oh? What's that?
Money. My name. Then they left me. Or I pushed them away.
Why?
They weren't good enough. They weren't willing to put in the hard work. Wanted to be given things. Given. The things that I bled over.
Well, I don't talk to Mother anymore. And my dad, well, no clue who he is. She was distant. Maybe she was always like that. Maybe I was just unlikable. She sure made it clear, often enough, that I was too much like him. That she saw too much of him in me.
I'm sorry, Hadley. Sometimes we unintentionally hurt the ones we love.
Such greeting card bullshit. You don't hurt the people you love the people you love.
He sounded like a CEO or something. Things I bled over. What if he's Cayne? Oh my god. Like, what if he's the actual, what if he was his name John? Was his name John Cayne? Oh no, we're going to Samantha right now? Just go ahead and do one of these. There we go. I don't want to go to Samantha. Security hologram. The area beyond this door must be important to warrant such security. Just a big no walking sign that oscillates back and forth. What a visual. So I can go that way or that way. Yeah, Samantha sounded dangerous. Samantha killed that bird at the very least. Oh, these are the grubs. So these are what they fed to Samantha, right? Unsettling visual overall. Weird, hyper-detailed outside area. Biological growth. A greenish gaseous smog lingers around the composite mass of flesh, muscle fiber, bone, and other organic matter. Yeah, I was wondering what the hell I was looking at here. This looks like somebody's insides or something, vaguely, but it's just kind of here. Is that what the grubs eat? Were they just growing like a vague biomass for the grubs themselves to eat? Yeah. Yeah. The specimens in the habitat are inert and unresponsive, perhaps in some sort of induced coma. How do you determine they're unresponsive? They're all moving. And it's not like you can interact with them from here. Atmosphere readout. The display primitively summarizes the current temperature, humidity, toxicity, and other status levels of the specimen habitat. I think the left screen is supposed to say that it's low temperature in there right now, and the right screen is supposed to say that they're currently sleeping, or they're passive. So low temperature makes the grubs passive, seemingly. Is that a giant hand or a normal-sized human hand that dragged downward, but fingers only, I guess, because the palm didn't smear the top part? The optically transparent polymer forms a particularly high resistant barrier to the grub habitat. There's two things in here. There's a retrieving platform. Crusted smudges of brown ichor stain the specimen tray. And the terminal. This terminal shows diagnostic information about the specimens, including growth charts, medical reports, and a feeding schedule.
Oh, God. Must smell terrible in there. Gag just thinking about it.
We need bait to extract. Try the terminal. Yulia Cairn logged in. That's what they're shaped like? They have a weird bend midway through? But they were just laying that way. Checked in Caligula, Attila, Mangil, Genghis, Mao, Nero, and Vlad. You named them all? Are they not for feeding on then? Incidents. Vlad was temporarily removed from the habitat using a baited containment canister. Oh, so the canisters are baited in that they attract the creature to it and then trap them and bring them out. Caligula has exhibited extreme aggression towards her siblings. Mao consumed 5 appendages from Nero. Oh, they have a labeling system of what the appendages are. So they're eating each other. I have supplied raw meat and plasma to encourage brood gas production. Vlad produced an excess of nootropic vapor, which resulted in low visibility in the habitat. 1 cubic meter of gas was shipped to the Cairn lab for the subjugation of Samantha. Vlad was returned to the habitat. Observation 1. Attila has started the metamorphic process. I've applied a metabolism inhibitor in order to inhibit stage 2 maturation. Observation 2. The grubs are responding negatively to maternal vocal calls. There is a possible rupture in the grub containment enclosure that is causing a brood gas leak that is in turn agitating Samantha. Habitat humidity reduced from 84 RH for 5-12 hour hibernation cycle. The cycle for they sleep for 512 hours. Oh, another password to write down. All right, Rue. I'm making this way slower by writing in all caps for some reason. I'm not really sure why I did. Oh yeah, I didn't do that for any of the other previous ones either. Why did I do that? So it's lightning bolt, place sign, flag, lightning bolt. There we go. Pretty much always write all my notes in Sharpie. That might be weird. But I find it's best for... I like it when my notes require as little pressure as possible, especially when I'm in the middle of a Let's Play and I'm haphazardly scribbling on some paper off in the corner. I like to use Sharpie. Pencils are terrible because they can break or wear down, and then you have maintenance to deal with when you're trying to do a show. But pens are a mixed bag because one, pens have that weird thing where you have to scribble a little bit to get them to start writing sometimes because they just are a hassle, but then you also just need more pressure to write. Sharpies last a super long time and they write really thick and dark, so it's plenty legible. You don't have to worry about whether or not you were leaving enough of a print or not. And they require no pressure to write with. It's great. Really passive. And you can be sitting there like you can be holding the piece of paper that you're writing it on with very little support, and you can still write on it successfully. Whereas otherwise you might be in more trouble. Let's go meet Samantha! Haha! Can't wait to find out how murdery whatever it is. Yeah, I figured it was going to be in the... There we go. I figured Samantha was going to be over there in the blood direction, full of blood. They're giving out these door codes like candy.
Jesus.
You're scared?
Heck yeah, I'm scared. This place. Who could create this?
Monsters.
Yeah. Yeah, what? What am I even looking at? This is like something like you... It turns out like the villains made in something like StarCraft or I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream or something. Like, this is some cartoonish, like... Yeah, like, it's like a... Admittedly, the isometric pre-rendered camera angle stuff adds to my bias here, but I totally think like this is like something I'd walk into in like a sci-fi version of Diablo, where things are just over the top hellish all the time. What in the world?